and welcome to another edition of the RDFNL Footy Show. My name's Yeendy, always excited to be with you. I've got a very special guest joining us this week, Paul Turner from Highlands FM, and involved in a lot of football in the region. Thanks again for joining us, mate.
Thanks, Yeendy, mate. It's good to be here.
Now, your first time, Nate. How are you feeling behind the camera?
We'll probably apologise, everybody. This is a head for radio, this one. So, to put it on in front of everyone to see what I look like. It'll be interesting. No, all good, mate.
Now, we had a really interesting round in footy last week, and we'll go to the game that you were at first. We'll talk up some of the positives. I guess you're at Macedon Lancefield, and a bit of a one-sided affair, but tell us what you took out of the Lancefield perspective on the day.
Oh, Lancefield, they were terrific. And we spoke to Cam before the game, and he just wanted a competitive effort. Well, he got that. I mean, they're just a couple of players short. Some of Worcester, I think it is. Yeah,
James Worcester, yeah.
Terrific. And he carried that team for a while. They've got potential. They really do. I mean, they've got to stick together. But they kept Macedon. They kicked a couple of goals in the first quarter, which no one's really done against Macedon.
Don't think anyone's kicked 2 goals against Macedon the first time all year.
Look, they, like most teams against Macedon, it's their second kick out of defence where they seem to fall over. They chip it out, and then Macedon seem to shut them down across half back. But they were competitive, and it was a good effort from them. And I think the coach should be pretty pleased with what occurred with it all. And Macedon weren't overly impressive. As we said, a couple of big injuries was really going to affect Macedon. To lose Matty Dick out of that team, that's a bad hamstring. He couldn't even come off that to carry him off. So it was a pretty nasty hamstring. And he's not going to get the medical attention locally that he got at Carlton. So it's probably
might be a little bit longer.
And we all know with a bad hamstring, it's once you get back, you're sort of a bit hesitant about going full pelt again. So that's going to hurt him. And they've got also at the moment they've got Markworth. He's away on holidays. Knoxie's out injured. Millsy he's injured, which probably might come back this week. So they're right for the picking for the Boroughs this weekend if they want to get them. But they're still a very good footy side, and they threw.
They've got some good young kids in there that they've sort of given the opportunities to play at senior level too, and
their big main driver is Casey Summerfield. He's just in and under handballs out. He plays like a Selwood role. Keeps getting the ball. He's just tough as nails. And he just keeps flipping the ball out. And Harrison, they threw him in the midfield, and Cook's a good forward, but they alternated Cook and Harrison out of the midfield, which I didn't think worked that well. I mean, Cook's a forward and Harrison's a midfielder. Just let them play their role, especially when you're down in numbers in midfield. Yeah,
and they're doing a good job. Cook is particularly leading goal kicker in the comp this year.
Well, he's got 48, I think. But the delivery coming in with, any forward in this competition would love Matty Dick and Markworth sticking the ball down your throat. And they've got their issues, Macedon. They've got a few things they need to work on. They've got no depth. And these major, injuries to major players are just starting to come up. It'll be interesting to see how they handle this.
Yeah, they had the concerns last year. They were flying as well, and then they sort of come across to Diggers Rest, which we'll talk a little bit later on in the week. But that was a bit of a stumbling block for them to sort of have a bit of a mid-season slump there. But speaking of Diggers Rest, they did go down to Rupertswood on the weekend in probably the shock result of the weekend. Yeah,
I didn't expect that. Oh, look. It was going to be a close game, to be honest with you. I actually thought Diggers would pinch that, but they got belted. And that's a real concern because they got knocked over by Romsey as well.
But the Sharks, they went out and scored 7 goals in the first term. They jumped them, and they couldn't recover.
Well, we watched Rupo earlier in the year, and I'll be honest with you, I was disappointed.
On Anzac Day.
But credit to Fitzy and all them down there. They obviously got them flying. They've got a terrific midfield, and they've got a couple of goal kickers, which most clubs are really struggling to find. And to have... But on the other side of the ledger, though, Diggers were actually bitterly disappointed with that one. I honestly thought Diggers would be a lot more competitive, and Benny and Simsy and them down there have got a little bit of work to do. And they're star-studded. Why aren't they clicking? There's something not right in that group at the moment because they haven't belted anybody. They're just rolling at the moment without... Maybe they're just having a good run, looking in September to get it all together at the end. But
I think Tara sort of said earlier on in the year that she did get a quote from Simsy to say, "Well, you don't win premierships at this time of the year as well." So
yeah, but they're not playing good footy.
Yeah,
and they've got such AFL talent through the team, and Ballarat League players coming. They should be really poleaxing some clubs. They haven't kicked a big score all year. I mean, they haven't got goal kickers. They're leading goal kickers. I think they're about 20 goals for the game.
Yeah,
over the year. So They've got no big forwards kicking a large amount of goals. Their best players are spread fairly evenly throughout of all the teams have been keeping eyes on their best players. They've got the biggest spread of everybody.
Yep.
It'll be interesting to see how they go.
Yeah, and Diggers Rest traditionally play better in finals anyway. They sort of do fly under the radar.
Look, they're well coached, and it's a good footy club, and they've got good management off field. We know a few of them personally, and maybe they're just lining up for September run, but you would be just hoping they'd be going a little better. I think they'd be hoping they would have gone a little bit better too this time of year.
Speaking of a team that seems to be getting better by the week, the Bombers. The fifth consecutive win of the season, and they took down Melton Centrals on the weekend and did so in impressive style. And great to see Benny Sonigan drift forward and kick 4 goals and have another outstanding game.
Seen Benny a few times this year, and look, as a defender, he's a terrific defender, and I think he was in the Bendigo League Team of the Year as a defender.
Yep.
But he is also their major forward. Since Nolan's gone, they've lacked a major forward, but they've got some terrific young kids in that side. And Jamie Alley, a credit to him and the Riddle Footy Club. This is a path they haven't taken before. They've always gone and bought what they needed for them to develop their local kids like they are, and have Timmy and Scotty Walsh in there to help them out as well. And Ollie Masaudi, who plays in and under role, another solid in the competition. Old Ollie, he's good, and he gets the ball, gets them first use. He's as tough as nails, and he looks after the kids as well. They are on the right track, and they will cause a lot of damage if they get into the September.
And I guess we look at the point system too, mate. That's the way that Riddle sort of seem to be tracking is probably the good way to go. You have your young kids come through, you get some senior experience, and you have a few mature bodies there to sort of assist that. And then I think that's a good way to go, and the club's done that really well.
And they're really good in their reserves, and they're just a good footy club. And credit to Jamie, and everywhere he's gone, he's done this, always had good success. To see these kids come on so quickly, we watched them early in the year. We play against Wallen, but Wallen were playing had a few issues with.
Yeah, so they were playing for a bit extra special
and playing reasonable emotional footy. But gee, I'm wrapped and I'm thrilled to see Riddle actually take this line, and they are on the right track. And if Jamie stays around and Sonigan and all them stay fit, they're going to cause some real headaches to a few sides because they're quick.
Yeah.
And speed in that big ground there makes all the difference.
I think Central's got a lot of exciting things happening in their area as well. They're blooding a few young kids, maybe just a few more stronger bodies over the coming season, the pre-season, that little system. Because I think they've blooded 316 kids this year, which is a tremendous effort for them.
And they've got lovely facilities. It's hard for them because they're known as a little sister club, and they've got the big Mountain Sows and mountains around them to get the players in. But they've got the structure of a good footy club.
Yep.
They do need a bit of...
Yeah, they need a bit more experience.
A bit more experience, or they need to find some money into the club and go out and buy a few players, which always helps everybody, but that's not the answer to everything. But look, Centrals, they've copped a couple of big beltings this year, and they're probably a little bit disappointed where they might be. In saying that too, they got, speaking to some Macedon people the other day about how they felt about Centrals, they thought this is probably the wrong thing to say here, but they weren't competitive against Macedon. That was the biggest. You can get belted and be competitive like Lansfield and Broadford have done too against the upper sides. But they said Melton Centrals at that time just seemed to roll over a little bit, and that would be a concern for the club. Yeah,
but fingers crossed. They're getting some of these kids some good experience into the team, and
it's the only way they can do it. If that's what the path the clubs decide to take in blood to kids, that's what they have to do.
Looking at the next game, Sunbury Kangaroos and Woodend Hesker will fly through a few of these ones, but the Kangaroos, it was 9 points the margin at 3/4 time. They went on to get the job done.
Yeah, look, it was Ryan Preddy and a few others, and Farmer and all them. They're a good football side. Probably not running as well as they were hoping as well. We saw Woodend against Riddle the other week, and they were really competitive, and with Arnold and all those guys, they're on the right track. Rossi Slice up there doing a good job with what he's got. But yeah, Kangaroos will be a little bit disappointed the way they're heading at the moment. Yeah, well, they've got the win under their belt that they've sort of needed after a couple of losses to get their season back on track. Wallen cruising to a big win over Broadford by a significant margin, and probably a good win for the Pies there. They had a little bit of a slump themselves, losing a couple of games to some quality sides, but this is a win they sort of needed after, I guess, feeling a little bit underconfident against Diggers Rest the previous week. Yeah, look, Wallen a good, tough footy side, and they've got big-bodied midfielders, and they're going to cause a lot of problems to a lot of clubs. Broadford, well, they rely heavily on Hickman and Littlewood and Coppinger. I mean, every week you look through the votes, they're the three that seem to be in it every week. Especially Hickman, good quality, good coach, good ruckman. In tough situations, he's doing a wonderful job up there.
Yeah.
While on themselves, like Davies is a terrific. He's up there in the goal kicking, he's up there in the votes as well. Good. They're just a nice, even football team, Wallen, and they're sort of flying under the radar a bit at the moment. Not many people are sort of talking about them or anything like that, but they're thereabouts. And come finals, when some of those, we're not playing on small grounds this year at Romsey and that's Clark Oval, they're going to cause some headaches with their big bodies and really be right up there with a chance.
Get a few of their players back too at the right time of year. Last game we'll look at is Romsey and Rockbank. Rockbank burst out of the blocks, 4-1 in the first term, and then they had a number of injuries, and Romsey really started to get their run on.
We were watching it, looking at that game on the phones, and we couldn't believe the score at quarter time. And that's nothing against Rockbank themselves, but we know Romsey can be a bit hit and miss. And I thought, if they're going to get rolled by Rockbank, there's some real issues at the footy club. But they got themselves together and started to get rolling. I mean, Jeb Wobb and a few of their players, they've got some quality footballers in that side. It's just about moulding them and getting them to work together. And Rockbank themselves, they'd be thrilled with the first quarter. But if you're saying that injuries got them towards the end, a club that hasn't got a great deal of depth, that sort of stuff, that would really hurt them. So a good effort for them to get at least that scoreline against Romsey. And Romsey, it's a scoreline we expected out of that game. And
they finished the game really strongly as well with 10 goals, 3 in the final term. Aaron Patterson simply outstanding with 7 goals. Paul, thanks so much for joining us in the reviewer version of the RDFNL Footy Show, and we look forward to catching up with you a bit later on in the week.
Thanks, buddy.